Navigating motherhood, making time for yourself as a mom friendships, and so much more. All topics we're going to touch on in this episode of Parenting in the Far North. I'd like to introduce my guest. Her name is Mariah Alexander. She's a mom of 3 and a digital lifestyle content creator. She grew up here in Alaska and has a big social media platform sharing what her mom life is like living here in Anchorage. So Mariah, thank you so much for braving the cold and the snow, for being here today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
So your oldest is how old?
My oldest is going to be 10.
10, and then you have 2 other ones.
Yes.
How old are they?
So I have a 4-year-old and then I have a 1-year-old.
Were you always a stay-at-home mom, content creator? Kind of how did all that come about? Did that spark after the birth of one of your kids?
So I kind of went back and forth. So I went into the workforce and then I was doing stuff on my own and then went back into the workforce. I'm back into the workforce now. I actually work in the digital realm of marketing. So I work in tech and I'm loving it. Alongside of, I'm also doing the content creation stuff on the side. I do some small side gigs here and there. But I'm juggling it all and I'm trying to find a balance in it. And I feel like that's always a revolving door. I feel like you're always one schedule's going in and one schedule's going out. Something is working and something's not. We're always trying to fix something. But right now it's a juggling act. And I always want to be present with my kids. And so I do work remotely. That was something I needed. I wanted to be present with them. And so going back into the workforce was something I was very strategic with the position that I was going to pick. And it kind of just landed in my lap. It was with a company that I've worked with years past and through influencing. And so now I am a part of their company in their marketing world, which is kind of like full circle.
It's like hand in hand.
Right.
Hello.
It's like really full circle. And the people that I work with are very family oriented and they are like really like family first. And that's something that I was very much attracted to. And so to speak more to your question, it's like I feel like over the years you're going to kind of like evolve in your parenting, in your profession. And if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, I think that's something that you should do. But if you want to be in the workforce, I feel like you're finding a position that's going to best suit your family and the needs of your kids. I always put them first, and this position that I taken is like it's perfect for me and for them, and I'm able to add a little bit more financial stability to my kids and our life.
And they probably get a kick out of some of the content creation, which I follow you and you do wonderful stuff. And I really think it's neat that you show mom life here in Alaska, because we all know whenever you go somewhere and people find out, you're from Alaska, like the questions go crazy. Yeah. So let alone a mom raising 3 kiddos. For your platforms, what kind of messages do you get when it comes to that? Are people really intrigued of what that life is like here and raising the kids?
Oh, yeah. I feel like on more of my TikTok, I'm able to show more the raw, authentic, day-to-day life of me living in Alaska. One, they're very shocked that African-American individual lives here. 2, it's like, how do you live in that cold climate for so many months? Also, it's like the environment that they see, like they're not expecting Alaska to look how it is.
Yeah, they think we live in igloos and,
Yeah. It's so crazy that we're in this day and age and people still think that.
Yeah.
But I feel like my platform has really showed a different outlook and a viewpoint of what you can, like Alaska, and like you can live here, you can have an aesthetic lifestyle living here, you can have the things that other states have. It's just we just go about things a little bit differently, and I think that it also has helped other moms that are moving to Alaska, that they are being relocated here for the military or a job assignment. It's bringing them here. My platform provides them with information about things to do with your kids, places to shop, areas to live in, like also too with hair. I love doing my kids' hair. It's something that I've really taken a part of, like being really interested in. Most of the time my sister-in-law does their hair. but I wanted to learn a little bit more about their hair and do it for myself. And so I've been taking my followers on that journey. But I feel like coming here, especially when you come from the low 48s, it isn't a huge adjustment. And I feel like my platform gives a lot of moms that that sight into what they're about to get into. So,
And your platform handles, because you're on TikTok,
yes.
Instagram. Do you
Yes.
want to share what those are if people wanted to
Yes.
follow you?
Yeah, so on TikTok, on all platforms, all across the board, it's Mariah Teresa. And I'm actually getting onto YouTube this year, so I'm really
Oh,
excited about that long form content and to be a little bit more, not vulnerable, but I feel like you can be a little bit more open there, and it's not so short, and like you have to get like straight to the point. But I feel like each platform that I'm on, you're gonna get something different from me, because it's just each platform you have to do things differently.
yeah.
But I feel like I have really given my viewers a great viewpoint on even my life and letting them into the vulnerable things that are going on in my life, but also too, just like filming my mundane life and relating to many different moms out there. And I've created so many great relationships across the world with different moms that are in the same lifestyle that I'm in. Our kids are the same age. We're able to swap different types of like advices and like, I'm going through this with this. What should I do? You know, like we became really good friends. And
Yeah.
I think that that's the whole thing about social media is about creating a community of whoever you want to create the community with. But creating that community has really helped me and also them.
And I would say too, COVID kind of helped with that, ushering in that sense of community because everybody turned to social media
Yeah.
to, kind of feel like they're not alone. And, when I went through my postpartum journey and I went through the postpartum depression, like the thing for me was finding out from other moms that, oh my gosh, I am not the only one that's feeling this way. And, being vulnerable, it is scary in the beginning, but once you put your story out there, you realize you literally are not alone and how many other moms are feeling the same way that you're feeling. So for you to create that platform and having that, I definitely can relate to that. And I'm sure, moms listening now can also relate to that as well. Navigating new motherhood. What were some of your ups and downs? Did you experience any kind of postpartum after the birth of any of your kids?
Well, that's a really deep question. And that's a really good question because I feel like most women don't talk about that. With my first daughter, I did deal with depression, but it was depression while I was pregnant with her. And I felt like when she came, it was like life was just great. So when me and my husband had my first daughter, we weren't married. And so growing up, I was raised to get married, have babies, And so when I found out I was pregnant, one, I wasn't supposed to get pregnant. I was told by doctors I wasn't going to be able to have babies. And so it was a miracle baby. But anyways, with that came judgment from many. And it set me into a depression of like, I wronged my family. What am I doing? And all these other things. And also, too, going into this motherhood of uncertainty. Like, you kind of need those people to rally up behind you because I think that once you push the baby out and it's put on your chest, it's like your whole life has changed.
Yeah.
And yes, you held a baby before, maybe changed the diaper, and you know how to console a baby. But when it's your baby and it's a new baby, there's so many different routines and there's different things that happen, and you're exhausted. And like the whole thing with breastfeeding.
I struggled. Breastfeeding was my struggle. I don't know how that was for you, but man.
I produced enough milk to feed 4 babies. I was overproducing.
Oh, wow.
And eventually my aunt came over and helped me kind of like regulate. I went to a lactation consultant. I recommend every mom, even if you're a second, third time mom, to go to a lactation consultant because each baby is different and your body changes each pregnancy. And so your body, like with Imani, my first child, I was overproducing. And as time goes on, each baby's different. As I say, my third child, he ate so much. And so I was underproducing for him. So it's kind of like your body changes and it does things different each time. So I have always went to a lactation consultant just because, too, years have gone on and you lose stuff, you forget things. Things are different this day and age. There's new gadgets out every month.
Yeah.
There's new nursing pillows.
Oh, tell me
And
about it. Yeah. You're like, I got to get everything. And then you realize I'm going to do what works for me and
Right.
what works for your family.
Right. But that was one of the challenges was breastfeeding. I felt like those first couple weeks, if you want to do breastfeeding, I say just like stick it out because it does get better. But if it's like not for you, I feel like don't stress yourself over it too. I feel like us women, we get so pressured into breastfeeding, and then that causes a lot of anxiety and depression too because you feel like you're failing your baby because society and everybody's telling you that breastfeeding is the best thing, which it is great for your baby, but it just might not be great for you and your baby at this time, and maybe try next time. So I feel like as time has gone on in each pregnancy, I feel like I've gotten a better grasp at motherhood in those first couple months. But yes, my first child, I experienced depression. And with my son, I experienced a little bit of depression because I was so sick during my pregnancy.
Oh man.
I was like, I was so sick with him. And
Were you
so,
sick with your other two?
No.
So just the last one you got really
Just the
sick. That
last
must have
one.
been a whole different ball
Yes.
game for you.
I
Like, what
was-
is this?
Yes, I was throwing up so much.
Oh my goodness.
I was having so many different complications. I was just sick most of the pregnancy. And so I was like a little hermit and like just stayed to myself and like but yeah, I feel like us talking about it, it's good because it's going to open the conversation up for somebody else to know that they're not alone. Like it's normal to feel like this, but it's also if you don't get the help, that's when it turns into something else. So
Yeah, and reaching out. There's Facebook groups. There's the Alaska postpartum. There's a chapter here for Alaska. There's a lot of ways, and mom groups. I went to a Monday Mamas groups at Providence. She was one of our first guests for the episodes. But after a while, you kind of just embrace the chaos, and I'm sure now looking back, you got a routine going, and your kids appreciate that. And with you doing the lifestyle content, that must be
Yeah.
fun for your kids to get involved and kind of see you navigating, both worlds, being a mom, but also, kind of being the business lady.
yeah, they love it, My oldest, like, she comes up with ideas sometimes, like, we should do this. But I think it's like I'm creating an arsenal of memories for them to look back on. And now I don't put everything out there. I put out what I want to put out there. But these are memories that they can look back on. Like, Mom, let me look at the vlog when we went to Disneyland And so it's like I'm creating these videos for myself and my kids, but I'm also sharing them with the world. And sometimes it's kind of crazy to people to think like she's putting her business out there. But I don't look at it like that. I look at it as if it's a creative way to express yourself. And I don't know. I understand how people come off like to think that. But for me, it's a creative way, as I said, to express myself and I love content creation. I love editing. I love capturing it. I love thinking about how I'm going to capture it. Also, there's so much more that goes into it. I know we can probably talk about so much with content creation, but there's so much more that goes into it that
Yeah, it's not as easy as people think. I mean, that
No.
takes time, and I'm saying with you, I love to create, and I love social media for that because you can go back and look at those memories. I would do a Mommy and Millie with my daughter where I would just roll my camera for 15 minutes and splice together some edits of what she says, and it was hilarious. And to this day, I go back and watch, and I'm like, I'm so glad that I thought to do that or I did that. So I totally get where you're coming from. With that being said, kind of moving into another topic, making time for yourself. So you are doing the digital content creation that involves your family and you putting that out there, which obviously is a passion that you love, and being at home with the kiddos. So where does Mariah find time for just Mariah? What do you enjoy doing? What do you like to do to kind of get, have your time?
Yeah, I was actually asked this question this morning. It's like, what are you doing for self-care right now? Like, what about you? And I actually couldn't answer the question right now, like right then and there, because I feel like I've been going through so much with the kids and like my father and all that stuff. Like, I just feel like I haven't had that time for myself. But it's important to have it. And I think that not doing it, I really feel like I feel the effects of it, and I feel like I'm getting a little overwhelmed. But it's really important, and I need to get back to it once everything is settled and everything kind of goes back to somewhat normal.
Yeah.
See, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
that has to be exciting. Whole new chapter. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I'll continue to be following all of your stuff online as well. What advice would you offer to other, stay-at-home moms, or maybe moms that do work remotely, maybe just getting into that lifestyle and trying to like juggle it all? What would be your best advice? Because I would think, I stayed home for maternity leave, but then I went back to work after the 3 months. And for me, that was something that I wanted to do. But also my schedule. People are like, "How do you wake up so early?" I'm like, it fits with my schedule with my daughter. To be honest, I'm able to be there when she gets up for school, and I get her hair done, and we get her off to school, and I'm there a couple hours to myself after I get off of work because I'm off early. And then I go pick her up from school. We have dinner. We go to bed at the same time. So for me, working and having a kid has worked out just with my schedule. Now, I don't know if I could say that if I was like, worked a night side shift, but I'm just curious, for you, what advice would you give to moms balancing, being a stay-at-home moms where you are with the kids, and maybe if they don't get a break, if the kids, aren't in school yet,
yeah.
how do you balance that?
Well, I guess it also goes with seasons because, as you said, sometimes they're out of school, and I feel like that makes it a little bit harder, So now with Imani, my oldest, I went back to work after when she was 4 months. So I was able to stay with home with her until she was 4 months, and so then I was full-time, and she stayed with my mom. And then the two younger ones, I was able to stay home with them entirety. So Layla didn't go to daycare until she was about 3 years old. And then from there, she came back home with me, and then she went to preschool. My son has been home with me the entire time. But also, too, it's like, it's depending on your work schedule. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
also depending if you're financially able to stay home with your kids and, make that. But I truly believe in I know we talked about this before, is just like being okay with things changing.
Yeah. Embrace the chaos.
Embrace it. Like, I feel like every week is something different.
Yeah.
I try to keep my routine with my kids as much as possible, but life happens. Things come up. There's snow days,
Yes, there are.
and I say yes. Embrace the chaos. I think that's
Yeah.
a beautiful saying. And also too, it's like finding a position or a job if you want to get in the workforce that's gonna best suit your kid's schedule. As I said, it's like my main priority was being present with my kids, especially because my husband does work away a lot with his job. It's like I needed to be there with them. And so if I was going to get back into the workforce and I was going to take that on, like I needed that to be something that the company was really like family first. Like, and also too, I would say like, give yourself time, your schedule will come.
Yeah.
If the job will come, you know what I mean? Like, just give it time. It will all work out. I feel like as parents, we have so much to stress about just raising them. And like, they're always changing. They're always in the next stage. They're always, I feel like I'm in all stages right now.
Yeah. I bet.
I'm in every single one of them. So I'm getting pulled every single direction. But also, it's just like, for me, I'm a very low-key individual. I'm a very calm individual. And sometimes that can be not the best thing because sometimes I hold things in. But I just say give yourself grace.
Yeah. Oh, I
You'll
love that.
figure it out.
Yes. Give yourself grace. Let's say it for the people in the back. I love
Yes.
that. Mom friendships. How important is it to connect with other moms?
It's so important. And I'm an introvert, and I'm trying this year. I told myself, like, Mariah, you got to get out there.
Yeah.
You got to meet people. Just me talking to people online, yeah, that's great, but you got to get out there. You need to make plans with people. And I find that, like, I need to create that mommy friendship with other moms. Just not just like, because you can have friends that don't have kids, but they just won't relate to you on that level. You know what I mean? And like, your time isn't just endless.
Yeah.
Like, can I bring my
Yeah.
kids with me too?
Yeah. They other moms they get it.
Yeah.
Or, if you're they're having, lunch and the kids are set up and has a tablet or whatever. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
I get that.
And I think it's important, but also too is like pushing yourself to go out of your comfort zone and get out there and meet people and talk to people and like bring your kids if you need to, like, and you know what I mean? Like sometimes I feel bad, like, can my kids come too? Like I don't, and not always, you don't always have a babysitter. Like somebody's not always there to like watch your kids, and especially with me myself, like my husband's away working. His job travels a lot, and so like I don't always have a daycare somebody to watch my kids all the time. So I think it's very important too for our mental health as well, is to get out with your kids or have play dates with the kids.
Play
Or
dates are great
either-
too, yeah.
or
And then when
either-
it's warm, summertime parks are wonderful.
Yes. Or just come over.
Yeah.
Just come over to my house.
Yes.
You know? So
Also talking with that a little bit, I know you have found a lot of places that you can bring your kids to, especially now we're in the heart of winter. What do you do? Where do you bring your kiddos to kind of get them out of the house and not, feel so like bogged down sometimes?
Yeah.
Or would you suggest some good places?
no, yes, I would definitely get them out the house. Definitely get them out the house. So we do a mixture of some different things, especially when I have the energy, because a lot is a lot. But sometimes we do stuff in the house, like different crafts and stuff. But outside of the house, I love taking them to the jump park. They can just jump the little hearts out. We just recently went to Color Me Mine, which was really fun. They were able to paint, and we just hung out, ate some snacks. Fresh Cup has a playhouse that's really nice.
I think I saw you
Yeah.
post about that. They had like a little slide and everything.
Yeah.
I love that.
Also, the Dome. I
Oh,
don't know,
yeah.
the Dome has a really great place. It's like open place where they can run and play, and it's warm inside. My husband loves taking them to Dave & Buster's. I'm not a huge Dave & Buster's fan, but that's what he likes to do. So they go and do that.
Yeah.
There's roller skating. We like doing that. There's ice skating that is outside, but you can go rent ice skates, and they can ice skate around. And also in the mall, they can do ice
Yeah.
skating. And they also have ice skating lessons, which they're affordable. Like I don't think that they're too outrageous of prices, and like they have like different stages, and it's only 2 days a week that they go, and the kids really loved that. Bowling is a really fun
Love
thing.
bowling.
We
Bowling's
love
fun.
bowling.
Yeah.
My husband sometimes likes to rent out the rec centers, like the basketball gyms, and then like get a couple kids together, and they go play basketball. But I feel like living here, you have to be a little creative with what you do. There's not a lot to do, so you are repeating a lot of the activities over and over. I also like extreme fun out in the valley. I love the laser tag there and like the go-karting. They also have a bouncy house out there too, like bouncy, like a get air kind of like
Oh,
thing
okay.
right out there too.
Okay.
But yeah,
So some options. And if
Yeah.
you follow her on social media, you'll see all the fun things that she does with her kiddos.
yeah.
Well, we're coming up on a little bit of our time here for the podcast. I just want to leave it open for you. If there was anything that you feel you would like to share with, This is our parenting podcast. You are a stay-at-home mom. You also do the lifestyle content creation. You have 3 kiddos. Anything that's on your heart to just share or something that you feel is important, kind of a last message that you want to leave to anyone listening. And for the dads too, the parents, the partners also, we'll have some dads on as well. But
Oh, good.
yeah,
I love
I
that.
want to hear all the perspectives.
I say enjoy every moment of it, and capture everything. I feel like, yes, we have memories in our mind, right? But to look back on a picture or a video or whatever, you're going to be so grateful that you did it. Like, I found my son's first little scrunch, like when he gets out of the car seat, and like something like that. It's like
Yeah.
it's really like memorable. It's like, if you're a first-time mom, or even if you're a mom right now, pull out the camera. And dads, husbands, pull out the camera and take a picture of your wife or the mom's, like, and because us moms, we already like that. We like to capture things, but sometimes we're not in the photos.
I was just going to say this. I'm so glad that you mentioned that because I read somewhere that very same thing where we're always taking the photos of our kids and then we look at it, but
We're not in
we're
it.
not in it.
We're not in
So
it.
make that selfie,
Yeah.
prop that phone up, do what you
Yes.
got to do to
Yes.
get you in it with that moment because you don't want just those milestones that they're 18 years old. Not saying you'll never have a photo of with your
Right.
kids, but I'm so glad you touched on that because that resonated with me, and so now I'm mindful to make sure. Oh, let me get me. No matter
Yeah.
what I look like, I
Right.
could be hot mess express, but
Because
you know what?
we're so busy making the moment.
Yeah.
If it's the parties, if it's getting them dressed, it's a photo shoot, or if it's whatever it is, like, we're so much involved in that. Like, sometimes we get missed, and like, we need to be a part of it too. And another thing I want to say is, like, I started is like taking my kids out on dates
Oh, I love that.
individually. I feel like, especially with my oldest, as she's getting older, I feel like kids go through stages with their parents. It's like they need one of the parents a little bit more during that stage. And my daughter's at that stage where she just needs her mom a little bit more. And all of them too. Like, we need to, I was telling my husband, like, we need to like really focus on like taking them out individually so they get that one-on-one time with us, if it's together with us or just one of us. But I took my daughter out to, she loves getting treats. Like, that's her thing, is like tasting food.
Oh.
And so I took her to the market, and she's fluent in Japanese. And
Oh,
so
wow. Good for her.
it was like a little exercise too, but she was able to speak in Japanese while we're in the store picking out different ethnic snacks and stuff like that. But she was so excited to do that. And for me, that was like really simple thing to do. Like, and then we got home and we tried it all. But that filled her up, and that for me like made me really happy. So take your kids out on dates. It's like same as like, dating your spouse is better. You never stop dating your spouse. And also too is like the kids see that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I love that. That could, I bet, and she's gonna remember that.
Yeah.
That's definitely gonna be a moment she will remember. Well, thank you so much, Mariah, for coming in. We've been playing like email tag to get these dates squared away. So I'm a big proponent of everything, timing and opportunity. So thank you so much for coming and chatting with us, and thank you all for listening to another episode of Parenting in the Far North. So be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast.